Hey everybody, it's Mr. Karabi again. So just so you know, before I go any further, last year I went and I did a bunch of videos for my health classes, and most of the students didn't bother watching them because we were in person the whole time. But this is nothing new, making videos for my class website and my YouTube website, just in case you're absent or in case you want to go back. For fall 2020, a lot of times you're going to be using these videos to really learn from and take notes. So this isn't new to me. You can watch this year's video compared to last year's video and compare them if you'd like to, but just wanted to let you know that. So if you're watching this in the order that we are talking about it in class, this is the second class of content in terms of fall 2020. The very first class for health, we went over the syllabus and class expectations, and you kind of just were introduced to the website. The second class, you learned something called PISES, and we talked about the difference between health and wellness, and PISES standing for physical, intellectual, social, emotional, and spiritual section of health. This video would be class 2. It's for the Tuesday after Labor Day, and we're talking about ways to maintain health and wellness. And then the next video, which you can click on the link at the end of this if you want to, you can see the spiritual section unpacked. Like, what does that mean? And the short version is it's values and morals. It's what do you think is right and wrong with a different situation. So without further ado, let's go and make me smaller, and let's go and look at this website right here. So here's the actual health class website, as you know, and we want to go to the wellness section. So click on the wellness unit. And then from the wellness unit, we want the PISES topic. So click on that. All right, so here he is again. There's the wellness wheel. There's the 5 categories. Here's the PowerPoint about the wellness wheel and what the 5 categories mean. Here's some other sources so you can read about. Okay, and then a little task for you to do on your own if you want to do. We actually should have done that in class. All right, now, this is the slideshow we're going to look at today. If you were absent from class and you're watching this for the very first time, what I'd like for you to do now is pause the video and take about 5 minutes. I don't care what you actually take. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't care. But pause the video and think about if you can brainstorm the top 10 leading causes of death in teens ages 14 to 24. So some of them are really sad, some of them are not so sad, and COVID is not an answer yet because these are stats that were made prior to 2020. So pause the video and go on. I'm back. It wasn't really 5 minutes, but let's just pretend that you paused it. So, top 10 killers of high school and college age young people. So we're talking ages 14 to 21. This is from the CDC as of 2018. Number 1, number 2, number 3 all have asterisks next to them. I'll tell you why in a moment. Number 1 cause of death by a high school age young person is unintentional injury and accidents. So things such as you walked out onto the street without looking both ways, or you fell off the platform on the L or subway, or you walked into a tree because you were looking down at your phone, or you weren't wearing your seatbelt and got into a car accident, or you were texting and driving and you got into it. So accidents. It's really sad. It's really sudden. It's really traumatic. And unfortunately, some of us, raising my hand, some of us know people that did die young because of accidents, and it's a really sad time. Then number 2 is suicide. We're not going to talk more about that right now. There are future classes that we will. It's a really tough topic. It's really emotional, and it's really tough. It's the second leading cause of death, unfortunately, for high school and college age young people. The links, by the way, to this data is on the section on the articles that are around. Where is it? There's articles somewhere. Oh, I know where. They're on the self-harm pages, which we're not going to show you on this video. So you can look that up if you'd like to. I suggest you have your parents look it up with you. That way, in case there's any triggers or anything, they're there to support you. Number 3, homicide. The third leading cause of death for high school and college age young people is murder. Somebody killing them. And it's really sad, and it's something that we need to talk about. They have asterisks because all 3 are behaviors. The accidents, the suicide or the homicide, it's either something that you did yourself or that somebody else did to you. They could be purposeful, like homicide. They could be inadvertent and accidental, like accidents. It's unintentional injury. That's the whole point. It's unintentional. So that's something to be able to remember. But yeah, that's there. Number 4 is malignant neoplasms. Basically, it's cancerous tumors, so cancer. Number 5 is heart disease, believe it or not, for young people. That's one of the reasons why we have automated external defibrillators, AEDs, around our building. And we take with us to all of the athletes, all of the athletic contests. Number 6, congenital conditions and abnormalities, so things you were born with. 7, diabetes, type 1 diabetes, that is, the kind that normally you need insulin to be able to control, not always, but it's also something that you're born with. It's not just to do with weight. Chronic lower respiratory disease, so breathing disorders. The flu and pneumonia, so look at that, even without COVID being involved, the flu and pneumonia, which are communicable diseases, are the number 9 cause of death in high school and college age young people, according to the CDC. And complications during pregnancy, specifically teen pregnancy, specifically younger teen pregnancy, but that's a different conversation for a different class as well. So again, the FYI, the older you get, the lower the rate of suicide and homicide goes down. Accidents goes down a little bit. The number 1 leading cause of death for adults over the age of 40 is cancer and heart disease. And depending on what age group you're in, depends on whether it's heart disease or whether it's cancer. And you can look those things up on Google. You don't need me. And this link will give you the link to all of the data that I found. So you can look it up right there if you'd like to with the raw numbers. We already talked about this. Did you notice that top 3 causes of death are all the results of direct short-term behaviors? Oh, and I'll go back. Accidents, suicide, and homicide can all be affected by drinking alcohol or using other drugs. Sad. Now, you should pause the video again for 5 more minutes if you want. According to a CNN report in 2018, there are 5, well, it was from the CDC, it was reported on CNN, the version that I have. There are 5 critical behaviors that could add at least 10 years to a person's life. And various health sources have maintained that there are 14 things that high school age young people can do that can absolutely help them live a full life. What are the 5 key things and what are the 14 things? Pause this for 5 minutes. Write your 14 things down that you can think about. Put a star next to the 5 most important. Come back and check out the video in a minute. In 5 minutes. Hopefully you paused the video. My hand was my little fade to black, low cost editing right now. So here we go. What are they? Top 5 things. 5, generally healthy diet. Doesn't mean you always have to eat healthy. It's generally healthy. Number 4, no excessive alcohol use. Now, parents, I am not condoning underage drinking. I am not saying it's okay to drink alcohol. I will point out that in Europe, they don't really have drinking ages in most countries, and those that do tends to be lower, 16 or 18. So what we're talking about is once their body is physically finished growing, if they have a drink here and there, it's not much different than an adult drinking. Now, if you're 12, 13, 14, or 15 drinking, problem. You're not done growing yet. Your brain's not done growing yet. And remember, people with the sex assigned at birth as female that have XX chromosomes, they tend to stop growing physically between the ages of 15 and 16. People that have a male sex assigned at birth, they technically, with an XY chromosome, they technically don't finish physically growing until between 18 and 19. So that's just biology and how it happens. Recall your biology class from 9th grade or your 7th grade life science class. Number 3 is moderate to vigorous physical activity. Doesn't mean you're running a marathon. It means moderate physical activity and almost daily. Number 2, a healthy body mass index. Basically what that means is how much of your body's lean body mass, muscle and bone, organs, blood, waste, as opposed to how much of your weight comes from fat. The only way you can really figure that out is by underwater weighing, because fat floats and the rest of your lean body mass will sink and they'll be on the scale. But since we don't have access to an underwater scale most of the time, there is one at Temple University, there is one at Drexel, there is one at University of Pennsylvania. But since most of you can't go and do that, we do an estimate. So we take your height, we take your weight, we do some calculations on a computer, and we see an estimate of what your BMI is, body mass index. My body mass index is particularly wrong. I am a little fat. If you're looking at me full body, I do have a belly. I do have a little bit of fat on my sides, but the rest of me is pretty lean. I weigh a lot on poundage. That I weigh almost 190 pounds on poundage, and most people, when they look at me, they guess I'm somewhere around 150 or 160. I'm not saying I'm thin by any stretch of the imagination, but so the weight doesn't necessarily matter. It doesn't matter what the number says on the scale. It matters about how much of your weight is fat versus how much of your weight is muscle. Don't feel bad if you're saying, oh, he's fat shaming me or something like that. No, I am not. It's all about health. It's not about body image. It's not about what you look like. It's about health. Are you able to have a healthy body weight in terms of your physical health? And finally, tobacco and nicotine use. If you didn't do one thing, the number one biggest thing that you could do on a daily basis that's wrong and bad and harmful for you, it's smoking cigarettes. Don't. Done. You learned that one. What are the other 14 things? So here we go. No tobacco, still up there. No excessive drinking, still up there. Correct use of medications. That means you use them the way that the doctor prescribed them. You do not abuse drugs. Safe and safer sexual interactions. So that means either abstinence or safer decision-making when you are choosing to be sexually active. A regular eating schedule that includes 5 to 8 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Tough for all of us to do. A low intake of caffeine, sugar, and trans fat. 30 to 60 minutes of at least moderate physical activity daily. I have 2 ofs there. I wonder if anybody's going to notice that when I'm teaching it directly. 8 hours of sleep a night. I read somewhere that the ideal time is between 10 and 6. I bet most of you fall asleep after 10 and still get up around 6. And I do too sometimes. But we'll talk about sleep in a different class. Actually, as part of this class, your homework and independent work was to view some videos on sleep, so you can learn more about that on your own. Wearing a seatbelt, not texting and driving, managing stress and stressors effectively, express feelings positively, live friend interactions, not just friends on social media, but live interactions with people, real people, add years to your life. Behaviors that do not cause harm, violence, or injury to anyone, including one's self. So these are the things. And is there anything else? Of course there is. You should drink water. You should have a vitamin or mineral supplement, especially since most of us don't have enough veggies and fruits in our diet. You should wear sunscreen if you're going to be out in the sun for a long time, and you should make it all natural sunscreen if you can. Regular checkups with your doctor to see if anything's wrong. Washing your hands frequently. Really good advice for now going on with COVID right now. Vaccinations and preventative treatment. I know that there's a debate and argument on whether or not you should get all of your vaccinations or whether you should not. But in terms of the CDC and health practices, getting vaccinations and preventative treatment can prevent and can prolong your life, okay? Laugh. Having a good time. Laughing about things, laughing at yourself sometimes, laughing at others. No, don't laugh at others. That's not nice. You shouldn't do that. All right. And other, do you have a really important thing that you think can add years to your life? If you do, why don't you put it on there? Because you're the one making these decisions. You're the one making these choices. But make a smart choice from the beginning. All those 14 things can add years to your life and can have you live optimally, physically, intellectually, socially, emotionally, and ethically or spiritually through your values and beliefs. All right. See you next time. Thanks.